Thank you. So my one is question for senior year 2, 2024. Explain the concept of suffering, that is dukkha arya sacha, as depicted in the Dhamma Cakka Pawatana Sutta. Okay, in the Dhamma Cakka Pawatana Sutta, the Buddha explained dukkha arya sacha, the noble truth of suffering, as a fundamental aspect of existence. So let me share the key elements. The Buddha described dukkha in several dimensions. Number one is physical suffering. Birth is suffering. Aging is dukkha. Illness is also suffering. Death is also suffering. Then psychological suffering is sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair, association with unpleasant, separation from present, not getting what we want. Then existential suffering, that is the five aggregate subject to clinging up, dukkha. Now, the important point is that dukkha goes beyond mere physical pain or emotional distress. It encompasses the inherent unsatisfactory and unreliability of conditioned existence. Now, even present experience are considered as dukkha because they are impermanent and cannot provide a lasting satisfaction. Now, the Buddha teaching on dukkha isn't meant to promote pessimism, but rather to help us see reality clearly so we can walk towards liberation. Understanding dukkha is the first step to the path to awakening. So that answer my question. The second part, is it okay, Brother
Oh,
Lau?
okay. Anybody got any comment? No comment.
Okay,
We'll go
so I
to
continue.
go next question.
I continue. Okay. Second question is question 5, senior year 2, also from 2024. Describe the commendable service rendered for the development of Buddhist dispensation by Mr. Henry Steele Alcott. Okay. So, sorry. Okay, so Henry Steele Alcott, he was from 1832 to 1907. He
Never
made
play the
several
slide.
significant
Let's see the
contributions to
next
the
slide.
development of Buddhism, particularly in Sri Lanka and other Asian countries. So here are the key aspects of his service. Number one, Buddhist education, established over 400 Buddhist schools in Sri Lanka to counter the dominance of Christian missionary education. Ananda College in Colombo became one of the premier Buddhist education institutions, created Dhamma Raja College in Kandy, developed Buddhist Sunday School, introduced a systematic Buddhist education curriculum, helped establish Mahinda College in Gali, supported education for underprivileged children. Then, two, Buddhist revival movement created the Buddhist flag in 1885, representing the six color of the aura of Buddha, worked with Anagarika Dhammapala in Buddhist revival movement, helped restore Buddhism position during British colonial rule, strengthen Buddhist institutions that were weakened under colonial pressure, organize Buddhist procession and festival to revive cultural practices, establish Buddhist Theosophical Society branches to promote Buddhism. Number three, Buddhist unity effort. He traveled extensively throughout Asian Buddhist countries, created platform for dialogue between different Buddhist traditions, organized the first International Buddhist Convention, promoted cooperation between Theravada and Mahayana school, worked to create a pan-Buddhist movement, facilitated communication between Buddhist leaders of different countries. Number four, publication and literary contribution. Buddhist Catechism became a standard text for Buddhist education. wrote extensively about Buddhism in English, making it accessible to Western audiences, published articles defending Buddhism against colonial criticism, translated important Buddhist texts, documented Buddhist practices and tradition, created educational material for Buddhist school. Number 5, social reform and legal protection. A campaign for Buddhist civil rights, work to protect Buddhist temple from colonial appropriation, advocated for the recognition of Buddhist holiday, promoted women's rights within Buddhist society, helped establish legal framework for protecting Buddhist property, work to preserve ancient Buddhist artifacts and sites. Cultural impact, introduce modern organizational method to Buddhist institution, help modernize Buddhist education while preserving traditional value, created network between Buddhist community, promoted scientific and rational approaches to Buddhist studies, encouraged interfaith dialogue, supported Buddhist art and culture. 7, international relation, built bridges between Eastern and Western Buddhist scholars, facilitated international Buddhist conference, promoted Buddhist diplomacy between nations, helped establish international Buddhist organization, created channel for Buddhist cultural exchange. Legacy, his birthday, August 2nd, is still celebrated in Sri Lanka as Okot Day. Many institutions he founded continued to function. His Buddhist flag is now universally recognized. His educational model influenced Buddhist education system. His work laid foundation for modern Buddhist revival movement. So that's the question. Then the next
I
question
got
is
a comment.
I
got a comment. It is,
yeah.
the way you write things is good for your revision. But if you are going for the exam, please write in essay form. Okay?
Okay.
If you broke into this way, then you may have problem getting full mark. Because exam is different from the way you remember things. Unless you really run out of time, then you can do in point form. Other than that, you shouldn't do it in broken sentences. Yeah. Okay, take note of it.
Okay. So the question 6 is also senior 2, 2024. Complete the following stanza for Dhammapada and describe them in your own word. So this is the one. Wait. Okay, so this is actually Dhammapala verse 64. Yawa jim wampi cebalo panditang pairupasati damang na vijanati dabi suparazam yata. The meaning is, even if a fool associated with a wise person for his entire life, he still won't understand the Dhamma, just as a spoon cannot taste the flavor of the soup. So this verse uses a powerful simile comparing a fool to a spoon in a soup. Just as a spoon remains in the soup but never tasted. Similarly, merely being in the presence of wisdom doesn't guarantee understanding. Key teaching from this verse is mere association isn't enough for spiritual growth. One needs active engagement and proper attention. Understanding Dharma requires more than passive listening. Internal transformation is necessary for true understanding. Practical implication is we must actively engage with the teaching. Mindful practice is essential. Mere intellectual knowledge isn't sufficient. Personal effort and sincere practice are necessary. This verse emphasizes the importance of proper practice and engagement with the Dharma rather than simple proximity to wisdom or knowledge. It reminds us that true understanding comes from active participation and sincere effort in our spiritual practice. Then the next one is actually Dhammapala verse 68. Tancha Kamang Katam Sadhu Yam Katwa Nanu Tapati Yasa Patito Sumano Vipakam Patisewati. The meaning here is that deed is well done, which after having been done brings no remorse, and whose result one experiences with joyful and contented mind. This verse emphasizes the importance of performing action that are virtuous and lead to positive outcome without regret. It suggests that true goodness is reflected in deeds that, when completed, bring happiness and satisfaction, both in the immediate and long-term consequences. So that's the end of my sharing.
Okay, thank you. Then this Dhammapada in his senior part 2, beside you able to do a translation, you must able to present the explanation of clear case, unlike in the past, which is very straightforward. Earlier years is straightforward, but now you need to clear explanation to the examiner. So good work done. So no more from you, sister.
Brother Lau, sorry, just now you told Sister Pei-Ling what? I don't get it. Have to write points
Hey,
for
Brother
what?
Lau,
Have to.
Brother Lau, but I'm not interested in Dhammapala. I cannot remember all the Pali words.
I mean, if you are attempting Dhammapada, you need to, besides doing translation, you need to explain clearly how the explanation of this applying to your daily life or whatever. So it's no more similar to the year 1 and year 2, which you need to relate, just translate, and that's it. For here, you need to explain how you apply it, okay? Application of this Dhammapada verse. Okay, Sister Teo. Any problem for your senior part 1 also?
I just saw you mentioned Sister Pei-Ling's questions. The answer is what is the issue?
Earlier one, Earlier one,
Ah.
okay. Earlier one is that you writing essay in the exam, you cannot just put point form, expect examiner to give you right everything, expect the examiner know the how the sentence. You must write in full sentence in proper order,
Okay,
not
okay.
just point form, expect examiner to know. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sister. You
Very
can
long,
go already. Yes.
It is on the translation of the Dhammapada.
Yeah.
You need to translate some of the keywords, right?
Yeah.
Keywords now. Okay. Then the
But
second.
now you need explanation. Earlier years, no need to do that. Now you need a very clear for something like application to it. You can think of case or whatever that is applied to this Dhammapada verse.
Yeah, but then Sister Peglen, your verse 68, you did not elaborate the.
It's actually explaining. You learn it, you practice it, and you realize it. Okay, the very first one is talking about this sweet thing.
Okay.
Any more question? So okay, you write essay must write in full sentence. Unless you already run out of time, then no choice. I have to put in point form in order to score mark. If you have time, please write in proper sentences. Thank you.
Write short notes on self-mortification. Self-mortification, Akta Kilamata Nu Yoga, is one of the extremes that the Buddha experienced and ultimately rejected before his enlightenment. In Majjhima Nikaya 36 Mahasakchaka Sutta, the Buddha describes his experiences with several self-mortification practices. Main forms included extreme fasting, eating only one bean per day, body became extremely emaciated, skin turned black and pure, ribs protruded visibly. Next slide. Next slide. Second, brief retention. Forcefully stopping breathing caused severe headaches, intense abdominal pain. Third, other practices. Sleeping in open air during winter. eating filth, standing for long periods, pulling out hair and beard, refusing to sit. Next slide. The Buddha's conclusion is that these extreme practices do not lead to liberation. They only harm physical and mental health, hinder spiritual progress, create unnecessary sufferings. Thus, Thus, the Buddha teaches the middle way in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, avoiding the extreme of sensual indulgence and avoiding the extreme of self-mortification, which is painful, ignoble, and profitless. The Buddha emphasized on taking a balanced approach in spiritual practice, maintaining healthy body and mind for spiritual growth. True spiritual progress comes not through self-mortification, but through understanding and wisdom. Sorry, this one I use Noble AI, I think. I don't know much to write. Anything rather loud?
As long as it makes sense, okay.
No, I proceed. Okay, Samatha Bhavana. Samatha Bhavana refers to a form of meditation focused on cultivating calmness and tranquility through concentrated attention. It involves training the mind to become still and peaceful, which can lead to increased mental clarity and concentration. Samatha Bhavana leads to jhanas, absorptions, and abhinya psychic powers. Samatha Bhavana is often practiced as a foundation of vipassana meditation, which leads to insight, wisdom, and nibbana. Next slide. One will develop one-pointedness, ekaggata, and deep concentration samadhi through samatha bhavana. This tranquility meditation suppresses the 5 hindrances through different jhana factors as the below table. So sense desire is suppressed by ekaggata, hatred by piti, so untouchable by vitakko, restlessness and worry by sukha, and doubts by vicharo. So once the hindrances are suppressed, the mind is fully absorbed in the object of meditation and jhana is reached. Next slide. There are different stages of meditation objects in samatha bhavana. Initial and preliminary object, parikamma nimitta. Visualize image, ugaha nimitta. Conceptualize image, patibhage nimitta. And there are 2 types of concentration from samatha bhavana: proximate concentration. Upachara samadhi is reached just before attaining the jhana. At this level, the 5 hindrances are temporarily suppressed. Aesthetic concentration, apana samadhi with one-pointed mind. Next slide. There are 40 objects of samatha bhavana: 10 kasinas, 10 asobas, 10 anusatis, 4 brahma viharas, 4 arupas, 1 ahare patikula sanya, and 1 chatu. There are 5 types of jhanas. The 40 objects do not reach the same level of jhana. Next slide. Based on the samatha. The next one is write short notes on morality perfection, sila paramita. Sila is one of the 10 parami perfections that are practiced by bodhisattvas to gain supreme enlightenment, Sammasambuddha. Sila means discipline. It is divided into 2 sections. Charita, the duties that one should perform. Varita, abstinences which one should practice. The obligatory duties towards parents, children, husband, wife, teachers, pupils, friends, monks, subordinates are discussed in Sigalo Vada Sutta. The abstinences are training rules that one should practice. For example, 5 precepts, 8 precepts for the lay person, and monastic rules for the Sangha members. Next slide. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Right? Oh, okay. A bodhisattva abstains from causing harm to living creatures and practice loving kindness and compassion. He abstains from stealing directly and indirectly and develop honesty. He abstains from misconduct and be celibate. He abstains from false speech, slander speech, harsh language, and frivolous speech and develops truthfulness. He avoids intoxicating liquor and cultivates heedfulness. By adhering to these principles, he controls deeds and words. Next slide. There's a story about Sila Paramita. This is about Sankhapala Jataka. Once a bodhisattva was born in the Naga world as King Sankhapala. He grew sick of the life there and wanted to be reborn in the human world. So he came to a human world and observed the moral saying, if anyone wants my skin and flesh, let him take. So one day when he lay near an anthill, a party of 60 men saw him. They want to catch him and eat him. They used sticks to attack him and tie him in 8 places. At the moment, a landowner, Alara, was journeying along 500 wagons. He saw these men carrying the huge snake. He gave them oxen, gold coins, and other valuables, and got them released the snake. The Naga king, who was the bodhisattva, went to his abode and came back with a great retinue to thank Alara. He brought Alara to his abode and bestowed great honor and satisfied him with heavenly delights for a year. Alara too became an ascetic and went to the Himalayas and dwelt there for a long time. Next slide. So the last short note is on Ratana Sutta. Ratana Sutta is a discourse in Khuddakapatha, the first book of Khuddaka Nikaya. According to the commentary, it was preached at Vaisali as a benediction to rescue the citizens from the scourge of mass death through a triple calamity, famine, and demonic influence. There's a controversy if the whole sutta was preached by the Buddha or only the first 5 stanzas. Nonetheless, the commentator seems to accept the belief that the whole sutta was preached by the Buddha. Next. So the recitation of Ratana Sutta at Vaisali is treated as the beginning of the benedictory ritual of Parita, which means complete protection. Parita today is an elaborate ritual. Chanting of Paritas is a ritual performed by Buddhists in many countries with utmost others than devotion, with the hope of securing protection from the worldly evils or invoking blessings for peace, prosperity, and success. The commentary gives a graphic description of the Buddha's visit to Vaisali, including many miraculous events that occurred. It was a sequel to the appeal of literary princes who were driven to despair by the unabating calamity. Ratana Sutta is a eulogy of sublime qualities of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and is made the basis of asseveration to invoke their blessings for happiness of all beings. Mythologically, Ratana epitomizes the 3 virtues, attracting the wise, and enabling the crossing of samsara and leading to Nibbana. Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha are collectively called Ratana, the jewels. Next slide. So the sutta identifies the following qualities of the 3 jewels. The Buddha, who has exhaustion of cankers, freedom of passions, attainment of immortality, and supremacy. Dhamma, promoting concentration without interruption. The third one is Sangha, and individuals praised by the Buddha, worthy of offerings, disciple of the welcome one, those to whom given you abundant benefits, steadfast in mind, applying themselves thoroughly, exempt from passion, and attain that which should be attained. Next slide. So the Sangha has plunged into the deathless, enjoying peace without price. Ratana Sutta brings up an aspect of popular Buddhism, signifying the obligation of human beings to transfer merit to the celestial beings, and the reciprocal duty of the celestial beings to protect the human beings from worldly misfortune. So Ratana Sutta, Maha Mangala Sutta, and Karaniya Metta Sutta comprise the important triad of suttas that are chanted at abridged Parita chantings at ceremonial or auspicious occasions. Next slide. That is the last question already. How is feeling explained? Name the chitas which fall under each category of feeling. Feeling is one of the most universal mental factors that arise in average consciousness. Depending on context, feeling arises and its function is to experience the taste of the object. Feeling is classified as threefold, namely pleasant feeling, sukha vedana, painful feeling, dukkha vedana, and feeling which is neither painful nor pleasant, adukkha sukha vedana. In this classification, both physical and mental feeling of pain and pleasure are included. The threefold division, which is based on tasting, is called Anubhavana Vedu. Next slide. Classification of feeling by way of consciousness. There are three groups. The first is pleasurable or pleasant feeling. Sukha Vedana, there are total of 63 chittas. Consciousness rooted in greed 4. Body consciousness accompanied by pleasure 1. Investigating consciousness accompanied by pleasure 1. Smile producing functional consciousness accompanied by pleasure 1. Beautiful consciousness of sense field accompanied by pleasure 4. Wholesome 4. Resultant 4. Functional 12. Then the first, second, third, fourth jhana consciousness of the form sphere accompanied by pleasure 4. Wholesome 4. Resultant 4. Functional 12. The supramundane consciousness of 4 magga and 4 pala attained through the first, second, third, and fourth jhanas accompanied by pleasure are 32. So total in this classification, there are 63 pleasurable feelings by 63 chittas classified under pleasurable feeling. So there are 3 chittas classified under consciousness with displeasure or pain. First is unwholesome consciousness rooted in hatred, accompanied by displeasure 2. Body consciousness accompanied by pain 1. Total there are 3. Next, okay, consciousness accompanied by equanimity, neither pain nor pressure, total 55. So unwholesome consciousness accompanied by equanimity 6. Rootless consciousness accompanied by equanimity 14. Beautiful consciousness of same sphere accompanied by equanimity 12. Fifth absorption jhana consciousness from the form sphere 3, formless sphere 12, and the supramundane 8. So there are total of 55 consciousness accompanied by equanimity. Next slide. The mental factor of feelings takes the lead role in the act of perceiving the taste of the object contacted. Hence, the Dhamma becomes the governing faculty. When it's classified accordingly, it can be fivefold, namely physical happiness sukha, physical pain dukkha, mental happiness somanasa, mental displeasure nomanasa, equanimity or neutral feeling upekkha. According to the fivefold classification, the only change that takes place is the two consciousness, namely body consciousness accompanied by pressure, falls under Sukhindriya, and the body consciousness accompanied by pain fall under Dukhindriya respectively. The number of consciousness classified under equanimity remains unchanged at 55. At certain instances, feeling is classified as sukha and dukkha. Under this twofold division, equanimity is treated as sukha. I think that's all, right? Next slide. Habis. Okay, Brother Lau, anything?
Okay, anybody, any comment?
If I were to follow the questions, then the feeling for the feeling one, the list of chitta should be coming at the back. The elaboration of the 5 classification should come before the listing. Because that's part A, the part 1. You see, how is the feeling explained? That means you have to explain this, then only you name the chitta, which fall under the, whether you use the 3 classification or the 5 classification, then you have to list it down. But here you do the listing first, then after you have the 5 classification.
Yeah, the front I explained a bit, but not much.
Okay. No, I'm just highlighting.
Yeah, I think you got the point.
Maybe you can put there one column is 3-4 classification, the other one is the 5-4 classification. Because the
Okay.
name, the citas which fall under each category of feeling is actually a sub question, really. So it carries a lot of mark, or at least half of the mark. So if you just do it for the 3-4, you may only get part of the answers mark. Really.
Okay. So, okay. But then if I didn't do the listing first, right, then you want to come to the 5-4, they may not understand, right? I mean, logically, you talk about 5-4, but you didn't list out first, then not sure lah.
So now, you can still list the theta first, but then you have the 3-4 subheading and the 5-4 subheading as one. I mean, instead of the now current, you have the theta and then the 3-4 one. You add another column of 5-4. So with that listing, you still have, that means it can be interpreted two ways. One is the 3-4, the other one is the 5-4. So in terms of presentation, you still can present the way you present now, but then you add a column of 5-4. Then it saves a lot of your exam time also.
Okay.
Because when the exam, we got limited time to write, you see. And then on top of that, sometimes we make mistake, we want to edit. It's not like in computer, Computer we can edit, you see, but when you're writing down, you have to edit very messy.
But at the same time, I got time to think of so many points.
So I will write
think I
whichever
can
is
list out the
convenient.
thing I got. Brother, now very stressed.
Okay, I'll take a 5-minute break. We come back again.
Okay. Write short notes on any four of the following. Mine is on right thoughts, sama sankappa, and sufferings. Right thoughts. The second of the Eightfold Path is right thought. Right thought is important because without it, we cannot reach right understanding. We usually approach people and situations with a set of preconceived ideas. Generalization and stereotypes cloud our thinking. We are unable to see things as they really are. This concept encourages mental clarity, correct understanding, and positive thinking, essential for spiritual development. It involves the cultivation of thoughts free from sensuality and ill will, promoting benevolence and ethical behavior. Next slide. Right thought means our thoughts, feelings, desires, and intentions are in complete harmony with the wisdom of life in accordance with the way reality works. With right thought, our thoughts and intentions are completely free from selfish desire, hostility, and cruelty. Right thought means our thinking, attitude, and motivation are rightly aligned with love, kindness, compassion, wisdom, and harmlessness, and these noble qualities are extended to all living beings. Right thought is directly related to right speech and right action. The way we think always influences our speech and action. Therefore, our misunderstanding of reality causes wrong thinking, which gives rise to non-virtuous speech and action which cause harm. Next. Right thoughts give rise to virtuous speech and action which bring happiness and benefit. When our thought, desire, intention, and motivation are in harmony with reality, the way, the Dhamma, this is right thought. Through right thought, we cultivate wisdom, an essential aspect of the path. This type of right thoughts, sama sankappa, will still bound to samsara. It's considered wholesome and leads to positive karmic result. 1. Renunciation, nekkhamma sankappa. Renunciation refers to the voluntary letting go of attachment. especially to sensual pleasures, self-desires, and material possession. It is not about rejecting life or joy, but about refraining the mind from cravings that lead to suffering. Non-ill will, abhyapada sankappa. Non-ill will means cultivating thoughts of loving kindness, goodwill, and forgiveness instead of harboring hatred, resentment, or anger. Ill will disturbs the mind and poisons a relationship. By contrast, non-ill will fosters harmony and emotional well-being. Next slide. Oh, before that. 3. Non-cruelty, avihimsa sankappa. Non-cruelty is closely related to the principle of compassion. It involves a deep commitment to non-harming, not only in our actions, but also in our thoughts. This includes avoiding thoughts of violence, disdain, or indifference towards the suffering of others. In essence, right thought is about cultivating a mind that is free from negativity and filled with positive qualities, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling and peaceful life. That is on right thoughts. Next. Sumitra, the next one. Dukkha. Okay. Dukkha. Dukkha means that which is difficult to be endured, difficult, kha, to endure. Dukkha can be translated to suffering. In Buddhism, dukkha is a core principle that represents the idea that life is suffering and which leads to teachings that dictate how to overcome suffering. Next. Dukkha covers many aggregates of suffering and encompasses a range of human experiences. Birth, jati dukkha. Birth is suffering and challenges that come from the process of birth and the introduction of humans to the cycle of existence, with all its potential for suffering. 2. Old age, jara dukkha. Aging is a form of suffering. As people grow older, their bodies inevitably experience decay, loss of vitality, and susceptibility to illness and physical limitation. 3. Sickness, vyadi dukkha. Illness and physical pain are considered manifestations of dukkha. The experience of sickness can be inconvenient, painful, and detrimental to one's well-being. 4. Marana dukkha. Death is considered one of the most fundamental aspects of dukkha. It is a manifestation of the impermanence of life, and many struggle with the inevitability of death. Buddhists believe in samsara, which is the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Based on this premise, the avoidance of death and clinging to life is seen as unnecessary suffering and fighting against a natural cycle. Sorrow. Sukha dukkha, the suffering that comes from the transient and unpredictable nature of existence. This can include the disappointment experience when things don't go as planned, the dissatisfaction from unmet dreams, or the discomfort from unexpected shift in circumstances. The Pali term is viparinama dukkha, the suffering of change. 6. Lamentation, parideva dukkha, the expression of grief and mourning that results from suffering and loss. This could be the loss of something cherished or the loss of a loved one. It reflects the human tendency to dwell on the negative aspects of experience and the impermanence of life. 7. Despair. Domanassa dukkha. Despair or mental anguish arises from the sense of hopelessness and helplessness of suffering. It reflects the challenges individuals face in coping with adversity. Next. Dukkha is a core principle in the Four Noble Truths, indicating that life is marked by suffering, dissatisfaction, or discontent. Dukkha is more than just physical pain or negative emotion. It also includes the dissatisfaction that arises from clinging to impermanent things and the general sense that things are not as they should be. The Four Noble Truths. The Buddha taught that suffering, dukkha, is a universal truth, and this leads to the second truth, that the cause of suffering is attachment, craving, and ignorance. The truth explains that suffering can be overcome, and the fourth truth outlines the path, the Eightfold Path to do so. At the root of all kinds of dukkha is craving or attachment. We go through life grasping at or clinging to what we think will gratify us and avoiding what we dislike. The second noble truth tells us that this very grasping or clinging or avoidance is a source of dukkha. We are like drowning people who reach for something floating by to save us, then discover that what we have latched onto provides only momentary relief or temporary satisfaction. What we desire is never enough and never lasts. The third noble truth assures us that there is another way to find an end to suffering, and that way, as explained in the fourth noble truth, is the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path. As we practice, we develop a happiness that is not dependent on external objects or life events, but results from a cultivated state of mind that does not come and go as circumstances change. Even physical pain becomes less stressful with the awareness of a cultivated mind. So the teaching of the Four Noble Truths is not that life is destined to be nothing but suffering, but that the means of finding liberation from suffering is always available to us. Next. There are three kinds of dukkha. Dukkha, ordinary suffering. This refers to the direct experience of pain, both physical and mental, such as sickness, injury, or emotional distress. Viparinama dukkha, suffering arising from change. This type of suffering arises from the inherent impermanence of things and the pain of losing what we hold dear or not getting what we desire. Sankhara dukkha, the fundamental unsatisfactoriness of existence. This encompasses the general dissatisfaction and unsatisfactoriness of living, including the cravings and attachment that fuel the cycle of rebirth. While dukkha is a universal experience, Buddhism also offers a path to understand and transcend it through mindfulness, compassion, and ultimately the cessation of craving. By recognizing the unsatisfactoriness of life and understanding its causes, individual can embark on a path towards overcoming suffering and experiencing the peace and liberation offered by Dhamma. That's the end of my two topics. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Great work done by our sister. You should come and join the YMBA and take the exam. Why you're missing? This type of standard is for YMBA. Okay, hope you'll join one day.
Okay, I'll try.
Actually, the answer,
Now left with Brother Ko to
I think
sum up all the rest.
Sister Doris' answer is more for a complete question, not
Yeah, you should come and join YMBA, sure pass on, guarantee.
Never mind, I'll
No
learn.
pass, distinction, Brother Lau.
Yeah,
not
you're
pass.
right.
No. This is quite easy topic lah. These two.
Sister Doris.
So you say you can do other topics and take the exam.
So you can try, that give you the confidence so that you have that means you have the time to try, and then with that confidence, it helps to encourage yourself to dare to challenge yourself.
Yeah, if it's online, it's okay lah. Physical, no lah.
So you see, it's always one level up and then up and up.
Yeah,
So
true.
you have to give yourself the opportunity lah. Okay.
Thank you.
Sister Doris already completed the MBE.
Oh, MBE MBE or MBE?
MBE.
Oh, okay. So that one is the Dhamma only ma.
Yeah, correct lah. Abhidhamma, I'm very weak.
Never mind. Give yourself the time to learn. So YMBA Abhidhamma is a very slow pace.
Yeah, yes, correct.
No challenge, no gain one.
Correct. Never mind. I learned from this beautiful experience your answering, the notes given by Brother Rasika Lau, very good, very encouraging.
So safe and keep it.
Must one day find day come on board. Yeah, don't sit around.
So Brother Lau, should I continue?
Yeah, your turn. You complete the rest.
Okay. I thought Sumitra also got right. No, don't have.
I think have. We hope we can complete everything.
Never mind. I sent you the PowerPoint, whatever, because mine is a bit lengthy. I make it as an assignment instead of answering question. Go ahead with Brother Ko.
Okay. So now we are back to 2024 Senior 2.
Ko, can you make your mic louder or not?
Oh, is it too soft? How about it now? Okay or not?
Okay.
Okay.
Can I? Okay. So this is for Senior 2, the Dhamma paper, and is for the year 2024. Question 1. Vedana Pachaya Tanha is the 7th line in law of dependent origination. Explain this term. So this is the topic that I will present on. Okay. Introduction. So in Buddhism, the law of causality or the cause and effect are presented in various ways, both in the Sutta and the Abhidhamma text. So it's commonly known and discussed are the law of karma vipaka, dependent origination or dependent arising, and the conditionality, which is the patana. It is recorded in the Nikaya that the Buddha advised the monk not to delve too deeply into the law of karma, that is too complicated, and because it extends to uncountable lifetimes. Dependent origination has a simpler format. It highlights the most prominent cause and subsequent prominent effect. It has 12 notes with 11 links. It's usually presented in graphical form for easy learning and understanding. But because of time constraint, I did not add the graphical, dependent origination. Later Buddhist elders had also incorporated other features to help interpret, understand, and comprehend the links from various perspectives. This is the introduction. So, Vedana Pachaya Tanha, feeling, condition, craving. So in Buddhism, beings may have 6 senses, or in Abhidhamma you call it bases or vatu. Namely the eye base, ear base, nose base, tongue base, body base, and mind base. So feeling is born of the sense impression when there is contact between the sense base with the sense object and the respective sense consciousness. That's where the feelings is born or arises. Thus, there are 6 types of feeling, namely the feeling born of eye impression, feeling born of ear impression, feeling born of nose impression, feeling born of tongue impression, feeling born of body impression, and feeling born of mind impression. Consequently, as per the dependent origination, there are 6 steps of craving corresponding to the respective sense feeling. So they are craving for form, craving for sound. From the nose, because of the nose impression, it leads to craving for smell. From the tongue impression, it leads to the craving for taste. From the body, it leads to the craving for tangible objects, and with the mind object, with the mind impression, you have the craving for the mental object. So these are the corresponding what you call craving due to the sense feeling. So generally, the affective quality of feeling can be classified as threefold. 1 is the pleasant feeling, 2 is the unpleasant feeling, the third one is the neutral feeling. So let's start with the pleasant feeling. Somanasa Vidana. It is enjoyable, likable, or desirable. That means they enjoy the feelings or is desirable. Thus, it leads to wanting, which is great lobha. Where the mind wants more, this pleasant feeling will condition the arising of craving, tanha. And as it proliferates more, the mind holds tightly on it, which then condition clinging, upadana, to arise. So this is on the aspect of somanasa vidana. Then next, the second one is the unpleasant feeling, domanasa vidana. It is not enjoyable and therefore is disliked and undesirable. So as a consequence, the mind normally will reject it or push it away. And this could be due to the presence of aversion. That means that is dislike, that is what you call disinterest or wanting the opposite. That means the second part is the wanting the opposite. Because why? There is a choice of wanting the pleasant, desirable. That means in the perception, there is this idea of pleasant feeling. So why should I have dislike? Because there is the chance to go for a pleasant feeling. That's why they reject it. Thus, the rejection of the unpleasant feeling has the underlying desire for pleasant sensation. So the third part is the neutral feeling, upeka vidana. It is a feeling of neither like nor dislike. So in a way, it's a neutral state of feeling. However, it has a peaceful nature, and to some of them, it becomes likable. And because of that, it could also condition the arising of liking, wanting, and then the craving, as tanha, for more of it. No. So neutral feeling can also sometimes be classified as pleasant feeling in that sense. So from the next we go to the tanha. So from the perspective of future development, tanha can be classified as threefold too. One is the craving for sensual pleasure, kama tanha, craving for existent, bhava tanha, and the third one is craving for non-existent, vibhava tanha. So let's come to the first one. So kama tanha is the craving for sense stimuli or the sense object. So there's two things. One is the stimuli. That means because you feel happy, so you like the happy feeling. So there is a craving for that happy feeling. Or it could be the object is desirable, so there is a craving for the object. Thus, it keeps on looking for or chasing for this sense pleasure. Now, whichever it is, whether it's the stimuli or it's the object. Then the second craving is the bhava tanha. So this is the craving for life. That means the current life, or it could be also craving for the becoming, that means the next and future life. Or it could be also craving for eternal life. It's a perpetual. So this sometimes leads to the eternity view, which some of the theistic religion promotes. And then the third one is the vibhava tanha. So this vibhava tanha, on the other hand, is a desire of not wanting to live anymore, or that there is no more life, or there is a belief that there is no more life after this life. That means whatever in this life, once it's over, there's no future rebirth, there's no subsequent life, and that's the end of it. That's what the vibhava tanha is. So a person has much more suffering. A person who has much suffering in this life, for example, when a person has much suffering in this life, he finds it very challenging or meaningless. It could be challenging, it could be meaningless, depending on individual. Might wish to end this very life, for example, by taking his own life, or believing that it could be the end of everything. That means because they don't believe there is a next life, so they say, okay, since this is very challenging, meaningless, then might as well end my life, and that's it. Then stop, everything stops. So or a belief that there is no afterlife than what passes away from this life. Thus, it has a view of annihilism. This is what Vibhava Tanha will lead to. So in conclusion, when a desirable object contacts with the relevant sense space, the affective pleasant feeling arises. Generally, as one likes or wants it, greed will arise. And if yogi is unmindful or without wise attention, that means without yoniso manasikara, the wish to want more leads to craving. And the simile is something like stretching out to grasp. That means stretching out to reach for the object, to reach out for the sense pleasure. And when there is further mental proliferation, it will lead to clinging, upadana. And the simile is holding on tightly and not letting go. So the reality of this Tanha, Upadana, and Upadana notes are great mental factor, which is the Lobha Chitta. They have the same characteristics, but manifest differently. That means the Lobha is considered as the initial one thing. Tanha is the craving for it. Then Upadana is holding tightly onto it. Yeah. Something which is, we can say as an illustration, is something is on your hand and you are not willing to let go. That's Upadana. So that's it. Thank you for the first question.
Okay, good try.
It's a
We'll
bit short.
explain all this. This is a short question too. So every this senior part 2, they will ask one of the factor. So be prepared for those taking senior part 2. Okay, thank you. Any
Okay.
question? No question, go to the next one.
So any comment from Noah? Then I go to the second one. Okay. The second question is explain the Noble Eightfold Path.
Brother, louder, bit.
Is it not loud enough? Okay or not now?
You talk a bit
Okay.
soft, then it's softer.
Oh, because today my voice is not so good. A bit soft.
Up and down, up and down.
Oh, could be the connection, I think. I'm not too sure how to improve. Okay, I on the volume higher, but I worry the sound may come in. There's a lot of disturbance of it. Okay. The second question is to explain the Noble Eightfold Path, classify into Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. So for introduction, in Buddhism, the key and final goal and purpose is to be enlightened, be it as a Buddha or as an Arahant. Along the way on the path, the practices, cultivation, and development would, among others, facilitate better conditions that enable suitable results like lesser defilements and hindrances. To improving and good living states, increase moral quality, and visible spiritual purification, etc. This path is called the Noble Eightfold Path, as stated in the first sermon of the Buddha called Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. So in Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it is the fourth noble truth, and is prescribed the true path, Magga Sacca, or the way leading to the cessation of suffering. So in the 37 requisites of enlightenment or Bodhipakkhya, it is the seventh group. So there are 8 factors in this path, namely, we will narrate one by one. Right view, samadhi. It is the right understanding of things as they are. From the perspective of spiritual cultivation, there are 2 aspects of right views, namely, 1, mundane right view or wisdom. There is lokiya ditti, that or lokiya panya. That is where there is cause and effect, karma vipaka, where wholesome deeds could bring pleasant good results, whereas unwholesome deeds bring unpleasant bad results. That there are past and future lives, and these are interlinked by the karma. Such views will lead to peaceful, harmonious, and united society. This is a good starting point for good worldly living and the spiritual practice. Then the second part of the right view is the supramundane wisdom or Lokutara Panya. This is the full understanding of the Four Noble Truths, the law of causality, and the other ancillary wisdoms. This is the supramundane or transcendental wisdom that one attains for one who walks this noble path, and that would finally culminate in attainment of enlightenment. Enlightenment is the end, the goal, and the completion of the spiritual path in the Buddha Dhamma, whereby all mental defilements are eradicated, and there is no becoming. So the second path factor is the right intention or Samma Sankappa. With the right view, it will lead one to the right intention or purposeful intention. Some will translate it as right thought. So there are three right intentions, namely, one, intention of renunciation, Nikkama Sankappa; two, intention of goodwill, Avyapada Sankappa; and third is the intention of harmlessness, Vihimsa Sankappa. So let's look at the Nekkhamma Sankappa. It is the intention of letting go. This is opposite to craving, Tanha. Craving is the cause of suffering as stated in the second noble truth. Then second one is the Avyapada Sankappa. It is the mind that exudes good intention of loving kindness. And this is opposite to anger, hatred, or animosity. Then the third one is the Vihimsa Sankappa. It is the intention not to harm others, but to love all beings. So it includes compassion, karuna, that is for beings that are suffering or in distress. So path 1 and path 2, that means the right view and the right intentions, are considered to be the wisdom aspect, the panya part of the Noble Eightfold Path. So starting with the mundane right view of the Noble Eightfold Path, and it ends with the supramundane right view. With the starting of the right view, one would have right intention. With right intention, one practices or conducts one's life ethically. With right speech, with right action, and with right livelihood. So with this blameless ethic as the foundation, one could practice the mind cultivation, that is the bhavana part. Using the right effort, you couple with the right mindfulness, then it will achieve right concentration. And this is the samadhi part. So once the yogi has the good samadhi, good concentration, then utilizing that clear, sharp, focused mind, then the yogi can penetrate the true nature of reality, that is through insight meditation or vipassana bhavana. And you'll be able to have insight that all phenomena are ever-changing, anicca, and it causes stress or suffering, dukkha. And there is no permanent entity, and that is anatta. So by this experiential wisdom, one could transcend the mundane knowledge and goes into the supramundane wisdom. Then we go to the third path. There is the right speech, samavacha. Right speech is fourfold verbal action, and it has two aspects, namely the abstaining from the wrong speech and the part of positive or active part. One is abstain from lying, two is abstain from divisive speech, Third one is to abstain from harsh speech. The fourth one is abstain from frivolous or idle chatter. Okay, let's look at the abstain from lying. Is to abstain from saying things not true, or that mislead who? Mislead the listeners or the targeted person. The positive aspect of this samavacha or abstaining from lying is that one will say the truth and the honesty. Then the second part is the divisive speech, abstain from divisive speech. So it is to abstain from saying things that would and could divide or cause division among group of people, be it two person or many people. And the positive aspect of this is pleasant and bonding speech that helps to create harmonious community. And the third one is abstain from harsh speech. Words said in unpleasant, loud, or unfriendly way is generally not welcome or receptible to listener. Thus, we need to abstain from such speech. While pleasant, humane, and kind words have more audiences and are more likely to be accepted, is the positive aspect. The fourth one is the abstain from frivolous chatter. This refers to frivolous chat which is not meaningful, and it has the tendency to have built-in defilements. On the other hand, words said purposefully or meaningfully and good intention is encouraged. And the fourth path is the right action, Samma Kammanta. There is threefold physical or bodily action. Just like right speech, there are the aspect of abstaining from wrong bodily action and aspect of positive bodily action. So the three are abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from sexual misconduct. So abstain from killing is to abstain from killing or causing harm or injury to other beings. The positive aspect is by laying down weapons, having kind thoughts, sympathy, goodwill, and taking care of other beings. Abstain, the second one is abstain from stealing. That is not taking things not given or belonging to someone else. For example, by asking and get permission before taking, then we would be able to prevent from doing an action which can be constituted as stealing. And the positive aspect is by being generous. So stealing is because we want somebody else. So now here the positive part is by being generous, being charitable. So like giving to the needy. So that way we will reduce our temptations to want other people's belongings, which will then lead to stealing. So the third part is to abstain from sexual misconduct. So is to abstain from extramarital sexual relation for those married people, or to avoid sexual relation with protected person. That means they are under guardianship, for example, or underage, or is legally protected, or legally considered someone else's partner. The positive aspect is to respect the sanctity of marriage, or we can detach from immoral and lustful conduct. So the fifth path is the right livelihood, Samma Ajiva. This is about rightful earning. That is, as in the sutta is mentioned about earnings with one's ability and strength, not the illegal way or by cheating or by doing the wrong speech, using wrong speech or wrong bodily action for a career. So for lay people, righteous way includes lawful occupation. I mean, it must also be lawful in the context of the community that one lives. And not only that, it must not involve, or it should not involve or does not involve in deceit, violence, or stealing. So these are harmless occupations, and yet it contributes to the well-being of oneself and others. That means others could be your family, could be your community, and when you pay taxes, it's to the nation. So this part 3, that means right speech, part 4, right action, and part 5, right livelihood, are considered as the morality component of the morality component within the Noble Eightfold Path. So this morality part includes the 5 precepts of abstaining, as well as the positive aspect. On the higher level, one may also practice the 4 sublime abiding, the Brahma Vihara, that means it's boundless, metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha, which encompasses a wider scope of beings. And this Sila component lay the basic foundation for the practice and development of the next part, that is the concentration, samadhi. Now we are into the samadhi component, half 6, 7, and 8. So we start with the half 6, right effort, sama vayama. Sama vayama is 4-fold. 2-fold against the unwholesome, 2-fold supporting the wholesome. So these 4 right efforts also need the complement and support of mindfulness, sati, and wise attention. Otherwise, it could be wrong effort. Okay, let's look at the right effort. The 4 parts. One is the effort to prevent or restrain the non-arisen unwholesome thoughts. Then the second one is the effort to abandon or stop the arisen unwholesome thoughts. This is the first part against the unwholesome. Okay, the effort to prevent or restrain the non-arisen unwholesome thoughts. So as a human being, naturally we are motivated by 3 unwholesome roots, namely greed, anger, and delusion. So unwholesome thoughts dominate our mind and actions. Thus, it requires much effort to restrain the unwholesome thoughts from arising. A good way is to keep the mind occupied with wholesome thoughts, such that there would be no place or space for the unwholesome thoughts. Thus, practices like sutta chanting cultivate and practice generosity and harmlessness are helpful. So in a way, the positive aspect will be the second component of arousing the wholesome thoughts to arise. So the second component is the effort to abandon or stop the arisen unwholesome thoughts. When the unwholesome thought has arisen, one could try to abstain it from acting on it. That means normally when the thought arises, when we are not mindful, we tend to act on it. We tend to speak up. So that will lead to a full-blown karma. So instead we abstain. Since the thought has arisen, we stop it at that and not act on it. Or the second part is if we can, we stop it immediately. That means totally don't even allow it to continue on and stop at that unwholesome thought. That is the effort to abandon the unwholesome thought. So the third subcomponent is to arouse or develop the unarisen wholesome thought. So this is the cultivation and practice of wholesomeness. So this is where the metta, karuna, mudita, the Brahma Vihara cultivation is helpful, and it can be done throughout one's daily life and throughout one's whole life. So in such a way that good thoughts will keep arising until it becomes a habit, it becomes habitual, and later becomes a part of our lives. That means it's ingrained in our lives to think about metta, karuna, and mudita. So these practices leave no space and time for the unwholesome thoughts, the opportunity to arise. Then the fourth one is to maintain or sustain the already recent wholesome thought. So sometimes we do have a wholesome thought, but as a non-practitioner, the quantity or the occasion of the wholesome thoughts arising is very limited. So in the beginning of the practice or walking of the path, wholesome thoughts that arise need nurturing, it needs nourishment, and it needs encouragement. And as it grows in strength, then only one would incline towards wholesomeness. And naturally, the unwholesome thoughts would be reduced. So in terms of reality, this effort is the energy mental factor, virya citasika. And in the sutta, Buddha always encouraged the monks to make effort. Not only effort, exertion, and then also has perseverance in their practice and cultivation. And all these are actually virya. You need effort. And only then success will come. So without effort, without exertion, and without perseverance, success will be difficult. Okay, next we go to the right mindfulness, the second path, the seventh path, samasati. So it is the clear awareness of what is happening now. This is one key and dominant factor as stated in the fourth foundation on contemplation, satipatthana, namely the contemplation of body, contemplation on the feeling, contemplation of the consciousness, and the contemplation of the Dhamma. So with right mindfulness and complemented with associated mental states. For example, the effort, and then with the panya, and then also with the solid sila foundation, then spiritual progress is possible. Otherwise, one would be guided by defilements, especially the delusion, moha, and ignorance, avijja. So the eighth path is the right concentration, samma samadhi. It is the one-pointedness of the mind, ekaggata. Sati brings together the associated mental states to focus on one object. That means the mindfulness brings together the other mental states to focus on the meditation object to the exclusion of all else. That means there are still other objects, but they totally exclude them in the focus. And when it's well and properly applied, it leads to absorption jhana. And that jhana is samadhi. So if we have the right concentration, mindfulness, then only it will lead to right concentration. And in right concentration, in the concentration, there are four types of rupa jhana, and there are also four types of arupa jhana. So when it is properly directed, that is with wise attention, as in vipassana meditation, it helps the mind to see the field. And when it's applied in vipassana meditation, it helps the mind to see the phenomenon as it really is, especially the three characteristics of all phenomena, namely impermanence, suffering, and non-self. So here, path 6, 7, and 8 are the concentration components of the Noble Eightfold Path. And this serves as the foundation for the insight meditation, vipassana bhavana, which will lead to insight wisdom. So just now, we have the path 3, 4, 5, which is the sila component, lay the foundation for samadhi. Now here we have the path 6, 7, 8, lay the foundation for vipassana bhavana. Then only it will bring us to the insight wisdom, which will then lead to the supramundane right view. So in the Bodhipakkhiya, the 37 what we call factors of enlightenment, this effort, mindfulness, and concentration are listed as factors in the faculty, that means the indriya, in the power, the bala, in the 7 factors of enlightenment, bojjhanga, and noble eightfold path, the magga. So conclusion, I have 2 conclusions. So brothers and sisters, let me know which conclusion is better. The first one is, though the Noble Eightfold Path is itemized as 8 paths, each path acts and supports the other path towards the success of the spiritual path. The Sila component helps to restrain from the unwholesome and promote the wholesome states. The Samadhi component uplifts the mind to have clarity and sharpness, such that when properly directed, is able to see the reality as it really is and realize inside knowledge, which is the Panya component. Hence, the Noble Eightfold Path helps to purify the mind, overcomes ignorance, relies insight and wisdom, enters the path, and culminates in the realization of Nibbana. The second conclusion is, starting with mundane knowledge, one practices Sila, which has the effect of moral and mental purification. The reduction of defilements and hindrances and fetters facilitate one to attain Samadhi, which then suppresses the hindrances and allow for final mental purification. When this concentrated mind is properly and well directed through insight meditation, deeper and more insights into reality is realized. Thus, further enhances and increases the confidence of the practitioner on the Buddha Dhamma. With more effort, diligence in practice, and wise guidance, more wisdom arose until the realization of path and Krishna. Thank you, brother and sister. That's
Okay, good word. The Noble Eightfold Path is that long. So you tackle this question. It's a sure question also for senior part 2. So if you prepare this question, I must able to remember all the 8 factors and classify into 3 categories. Any question from the rest? Any more to present, Brother Ko?
Yeah, there's another one more.
Okay. If no question, we carry on.
Okay. It's a bit long. The second one is a bit longer.
Just now, brother call us which conclusion to choose, right?
Yeah.
I think actually both means the same lah, but
Yeah.
maybe the second one better lah.
Second one sounds better.
But I think actually it says the same thing lah, only the way you put it only lah.
Yes. That's why I got problem choosing which one should I put.
I think the second one lah, but I think maybe good to put inside the table to say which one is Samadhi, which one is Sila, which one is Panya. Because you write in words, right? Path 4 and 5 refer to what, then path 1 to what. It's a bit burning to read it. I really don't know what path 4 and 5 is what. Or maybe you have to write livelihood and write what belong to Sila. Because you say path 4 and 5, I really don't know what is 4 and 5. That's my opinion.
Okay. That's why I prefer normally put it in graphical form or in table form. But since if you're
No, maybe you write livelihood and write action and write speech belong. Don't know. Write livelihood, write action and write speech, right? Belong to which one? Now you say path 4 and 5, I also don't know 4 and 5 is what. Then the other one, path 7, 6 and 7 and something like that. Actually, I really cannot recall your 6 and 7 is what. Of course, if you want to search, go up and search, of course can, but if I am someone who just read and I, as an examiner, of course I got the knowledge, but then if I take it as a someone who just read your essay, right? I'm just thinking you actually make me more troublesome to have to go and dig out the front part, what it said. That's why I think. So maybe a table, simple table to put this one belong to which one first, then you explain it's easier, or you actually mention right livelihood, right whatever, right belong to what, maybe it's clearer that way. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe, write it on the, instead of part 3, 4, and 5, just write the actual name.
The which factor is that,
Okay. Good suggestion. Thank you. Okay, so I'll go to the last presentation on the question 3. Question 3. Describe the 3 factors, samyojana, that should be eradicated to attain the stream enterer, sotapanna. So, introduction. In Buddhism, the key and final goal and purpose is to be enlightened, be it as a Buddha or as an Arahant. Along the way or the path, the practices, cultivations, and development recommended would help and facilitate good cause, kusala karma, and conditions that enable suitable results and circumstances, like lesser hindrances, nivarana, defilements, kilesa, factors, samyojana, etc. Good living and mental states, increased moral and spiritual purification, etc. This path is called Noble Eightfold Path. That is the 4th Noble Truth. The Noble Eightfold Path comprises of 8 components, each supporting one another. This may also be grouped as wisdom, morality, and composure or concentration. With the support of good mundane knowledges, one cultivates morality. A good grounding of and strong morality helps the development of composure. Strong composure enables one to gain insight into nature as it really is. With wisdom of nature, one starts to let go of many wrong views, cultivate and practice right actions that help lead to insight and realization. That help increase wisdom and the liberation from the conditioned states, nirvana. I think there's some copy and paste mistakes here, I think. So, okay, for the attainment of the noble person, Arya Pugala, the 10 factors, Dasa Samyodhana, are normally used to and referred to. There are 10 factors that have to be eradicated gradually for a whirling Buddhadana to reach Arahantship. For the stream enterer, he has to eradicate 3 lower factors, namely Sakaya Ditti. Okay. First one, Sakaya Ditti, self-will. This Sakaya Ditti could be a dogmatic will, a belief that there is a permanent soul, or that there is an entity that lives on after one's death. Believers of theistic religions tend to fall into this group. In reality or Paramattha, it is the wrong view mental factor, Ditti Citasika. The Sotapanna person has a glimpse of Nibbana when he attains Sotapatti Magga. Thus, he has faith and confidence in the 4 Noble Truths. This Sotapanna noble person has eradicated permanently the defilement of Ditti. Thus, the 4 great-rooted associated with wrong view consciousness, or Lobha Mula Ditti Sampayutta Citta, will not arise anymore. The second factor is Silabhata Paramasa, attachment to rites and rituals. It could be a belief that rites and ritual could lead to purification, heaven, salvation or even liberation. During the Buddha's time, there were beliefs that when one practices the life of a cow, a dog, or certain other lifestyle, one could eradicate the bad karma, that means purify, or remove the bad karma, or purify oneself, then become better, or attain liberation. That means they thought that they are arahant, that they are liberated. Even the belief of fire or fire sacrifice rites and rituals as a form of purification and attainment of liberation. When you talk about fire sacrifice, it reminds me about the three Kassapa brothers that Buddha converts in his early days. And after the Buddha has sent off the 60 first Arahant to do the missionary works of sharing the Buddha Dhamma, that they have attained to the general public. So this Silabata Paramasa could be a form of wrongview, or it could be attachment influenced by delusion. That means they attach to the rites and ritual due to delusion. A Sotapanna noble person knows that such rites and rituals. Some Sotapanna person may still do rites and rituals, and they know that it could not purify nor attain liberation with rites and rituals. But when it does those rites and rituals, it is because these are helpful and useful to some devotees, for example, in their faith and or to cultivate wholesome thoughts. That means these are good rites and rituals, wholesome rites that will enhance or brings out the wholesome thoughts in the devotees. And the third factor is the vicikicca, samyojana, or the skeptical doubt. So in the Buddha Dhamma, it is the doubt about the Four Noble Truths, the dependent origination, and the law of karma. This could be spiritual doubt, for example, about the triple gem, the training. There is a greater training of Sila, Samadhi, Panya. It could be also doubt that there is no past life, or there is no future life, or it could be both. There is no past life and future life. No. That means, meaning to say, that person believes that he's in this world, he's alive because out of what you call sudden. He just arrives. He has no past life. He has no future life. And once that life passes on, that's the end of his life. And it could be also a doubt about dependent origination. That means they don't believe there is the cause and effect, the causality of the phenomenon. The reality of this vicikicca is vicikicca cetasika. So a Sotapanna noble person has also eradicated doubt and thus the delusion rooted associated with doubt consciousness will not arise anymore. So from the Abhidhamma perspective, a Sotapanna has eradicated 5 unwholesome consciousness, akusala citta, and these 5 will not arise after he has attained Sotapanna. So in conclusion, a Sotapanna person is called a stream enterer because he has entered the stream that will propel him towards the directions of liberation, nibbana. He will not be reborn more than 7 times in the central sphere. He will not be reborn in the 4 woeful planes because he would not commit deeds that will cause him to be reborn in woeful states. Nor will he commit any of the 5 heinous crimes that will lead to be reborn in hell realm niraya. So that's the end of my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Good work
you.
done. So this question may come out in your senior part 1, 2. So it's good for both of you to know either way, whichever they like to set. Okay, any more not?
It's quite short, so I didn't want to elaborate too much. I thinking that
Sufficient, no need to
Ah.
to put because you remember your 35 minutes for each question.
yeah. My allocation is 30 minutes for each question.
Also something around there. It's
Ah.
about same as the Bali University.